There's a large bird behind you, gentlemen.
I just wanted some sauce on those zingers.
All right, everybody, welcome to the show. I hope you're having an awesome and amazing man day. First and foremost, a couple shameless plugs. Make sure you subscribe to Review Tech USA. I upload content on a fairly regular basis, and I stream on a fairly regular basis as well. Also, make sure to leave a like and a comment, too. It helps out in the algorithm. And hit the bell. I always forget about the bell. Hit the bell so you get notifications of my newest videos. And also, I have an ASMR channel called Tech25 ASMR. I have new content planned for this year, and I also have plenty of content up there already. So make sure you sub to Tech25 ASMR. I'll have links to everything I mentioned below in the description and top pinned comment. Hey, is everything becoming more expensive for you? Is it tough to even buy groceries at the grocery store without having to do a payment plan like Klarna? That's actually a thing where people are using like buy now, pay later for groceries. But at least, hey, even though that's happening, you can't buy a house. You have to continue to rent because buying a home is very unaffordable. At least you could buy your electronics, right? You could own these. You could watch Netflix on your phone, and you'll be happy as you're a lemming making a bunch of money for other people while you're still broke. Right? Well, guess what? You're not going to be able to own this stuff anymore either. You're going to have to rent it soon. And even if you rent it for like 2 years and you think, all right, at least at the end I get to keep what I paid for monthly, right? Nope. Got to give it back here. Give it. You paid for it for 2 years and it's outdated. It doesn't matter. We want it back. That's literally what's happening right now, and this is just the beginning. So I talked about this is just a couple days ago, how HP is doing this. Now, we know that RAM prices are going up because of the AI data centers, and RAM is going up like 3. If you wanted to buy like a 32 gigabyte kit in August, that kit, even towards the end of 2025, was probably like 3 times the price, if not more, and it's gotten worse since then. So HP's whole thing was, I made a video on this, is that you could rent laptops from them. And it's more affordable because you don't have to pay up front. But here's the thing. You don't own it at the end. It isn't like a rent-to-own thing where, okay, after the lease is up, if you want to keep it, you get to keep it. Again, I used to work with a company called Cutting Edge Gamer, and I actually was a customer of theirs too. Because, yes, okay, you paid a little more or somewhat more to lease the graphics cards from them, but guess what? If you wanted to keep it, once the 13th month came around, that card was yours. You owned it. I still have a 2080 to this day that was from Cutting Edge Gamer, rest in peace to them, that now is mine. I could do whatever the hell I want with it. I could keep it. I could sell it. I could give it to one of the birds. I can replace a bird and put the 2080 right there. Not with this, though. These laptops, you got to give them back to HP no matter how long you were paying on them, which is insane. But guess what? Guess what? They're not the only ones going down this route. Sony's doing the same thing. Can't afford a PlayStation 5? You could rent it from them. I'm not kidding. Now, this is happening in the UK where Sony is actually offering a rental program for the PlayStation 5. And I'm sure this is a test market that if it does well here, you don't think they're going to bring it to the States and other places around the world. This comes from Kotaku. PlayStation in the UK has paired up with a company called Raylo to offer rental options for a huge range of its hardware. For a whacking $33 a month, you can get a 1 terabyte PS5 you don't own, or make that $39 if you want a second controller with it. $6 more a month for a second controller. You don't get to keep any of this. Keep that in mind. Called PlayStation Flex, it purports to lease out PS5s and accessories starting at about $13 per month. That's pounds right there. Deliberately aimed at customers who aren't able or willing to pay the full price up front, but the reality is much more grim. Buckle up for that. And here is PlayStation UK. So it's not like they're working with a third party, but this is still Sony's, is sanctioned by Sony, blessed by Sony. Here is their tweet Okay, PlayStation UK. Join your friends on PlayStation 5 with Flex. Lease a PS5 Digital Edition console starting at £9.95, I believe, per month, and it's about $13 a month for a limited time only. The quote starting at £9.95 per month claim in the promotional materials is extremely misleading. This is the price for the bizarre Europe only 825 gigabyte digital edition of the PS5. They actually cut down on the storage size to save on costs in Europe with the digital edition. In the States, it's still a terabyte. For now, roughly working out to about $13.50 per month, but crucially only at the rate if you want to commit to a 36-month plan from which it is very difficult to opt out of. So, 1, they make it next to impossible to opt out of. 2, you don't own the console. In reality, to rent that lowest tier console for a month without a contract would cost you $26.50 per month. So if you want it without a contract, you're going up like double the price, more than twice as much as the implied price. So unless you do the 3-year plan, you're paying a hell of a lot more. Kotaku continues, for clarity, let's focus on the standard 1 terabyte PS5, which purports on the front page of the store to be available for £11.59 per month, $16. But for a single month, it would actually cost you $33. The same console to buy and own outright costs $654 or 480 pounds, let's say, with included tax in that figure. It gets even more bizarre, though. If you signed up for that 36-month, 3-year commitment, which you cannot cancel, at the cheapest rate, this would cost you a total of $417. So maybe it's a bargain, right? Like, hey, it's still, at that point, it's cheaper than just buying a PS5, even if you're just paying the monthly installments. That's 60 pounds cheaper than buying it day one. Except no, because at the end of those 3 years, you've spent your 417 pounds on owning nothing. You have to give the PS5 back. So this payment plan from Sony and Raylo that you rent this console, all right, you know, it's actually a little bit cheaper than buying a PlayStation 5, but the person who spent a little bit more money to buy the PlayStation 5 outright, now they own it. Like Kotaku just said, they could sell it. They could do what they want. You don't own that console. If you don't want it anymore, you got to fork it over. Sony wants it back. Now, here is where it gets even more insane. The situation obviously gets considerably worse if you rent the PS5 for a shorter period of time. If you were unable to commit beyond a monthly rate, which of course is the case for many with low incomes looking to find cheaper access to this tech, unable to commit to a 12-month contract, let alone a 3-year one, for the equivalent 3 years, you'd have to pay out $1,202 for a console you don't even own. So if you don't want to be tied into a 3-year contract and you want to have a PlayStation 5 for maybe the same time period, it'll be almost $1,200. Do you understand how insane that is? Do you understand how much of that they're robbing the consumer? They're robbing people who can't afford to be robbed, who maybe just want a luxury. And they're just saying, oh, you want this luxury? Well, we're going to gouge you. Because who do you think is going to go for these price plans? It's going to be the people that can't afford it. And it's always the ones who can't afford it that get screwed over the most. It's unreal. Just wanted to add this in here. This is Rich editing this in post. So say you wanted to do this rental plan, but only for a year out of contract. And you wanted to just, okay, maybe I want to end in 6 months, but you end up keeping the console for a year. It would be about $33 a month. Do the math. You're at $396 about. So you're essentially just shy of owning the console outright if you do the out-of-contract monthly lease for a year or even slightly less. It's insane. It's insane. There's no way. This is extortion. There's no other way to look at it. And let's go back to freedom dollars for a second. If you wanted to get the PS5 and do this plan without a contract with an extra controller for that 3-year period, to have an extra controller, again, you can't keep any of this either. at the end of your however long you keep it, it would be about $1,400 a month. To have one extra controller, you would be paying $200 and something more over that time period for an extra controller. It's $200 more than $200 more. It's insane. And hey, you want to rent a PS5 Pro with the same terms? Could be up to almost $2,000. $1,840. And here's what happens if you want to cancel early. It gets even worse. Canceling early requires having paid a minimum of 18 months of charges, plus that month's and the next. So if you've signed up for 2 years but need to cancel after 12 months, you'll need to pay another 8 months worth of charges to get out of the contract. So if something happens that maybe your rent goes up or your mortgage rate changes and it's like, look, man, I got to give up this PS5 that I'm renting. You know, I wanted something for my kids and I couldn't pay up front, but this is too much money. Oh, well, you got to still pay up. Got to give us the other 8 months there. That's part of the contract. Sucks for you. It's amazing that as I'm talking about this, they have like progressive leasing and lease here or pay an insane amount of interest to pay something in monthly payments that you want to own now here. It's, oh my God. Capitalism is absolutely terrible. Now, obviously, renting technology is not a new thing. It's been around for a very long time. But these stories that I'm talking about here, like with HP and Sony, their timing is what makes them alarming. We know that RAM prices are skyrocketing, which in turn will make buying products much more challenging for many people. And on top of it too, the economy, especially in the States, is really bad and people are really struggling right now. So all of these corporations are like, how could we profit off of this? I know, we could rent out our technology at insanely high prices with ridiculous contracts, and then we don't let them keep the tech even if they've paid for it for years. So we get to get the tech back, even if it's in crappy condition. I'm sure we could do whatever we need to do for it to make money off the parts. And on top of it too, we get to make a bunch of money off of people renting our tech that they never get to own. And again, this also ties into everything I've been saying about cloud computing. We know that AI, at least right now, is in a bubble and it's going to pop. There's not an expert out there that says anything else, but the AI tech bubble is going to pop. But what do you think they're going to do with all of these data centers? Recently, Jeff Bezos, like I always talk about, gave it away. He thinks that local computing power is antiquated, and just like our electrical grid, that we're going to have cloud computing do everything for us. If we need to edit videos, we're going to do it in the cloud. If we need to do anything basically that even requires moderate computing power, you're going to have to go to the cloud. Okay, yes, having a grid of electricity, Jeff, is more convenient, but how many options do you have? Like, say your bill gets ridiculously high, which electric bills are increasing because of the AI data centers, by the way. I'm going to go see what my competition is doing and see if they offer a better rate. Good luck with that one. At best, you may find 2 electric companies in your area, and that's about it. It's a monopoly or at best a duopoly. And so in most cases, you have no choice but to pay whatever your electric company makes you pay, or you don't have electricity. It's that simple. And what do you think? What do you think? There's going to be a whole bunch of different options for cloud computing that you get to choose one, and they have to be competitive with each other. There'll be like 1 to 3, and they're all going to. If they want to increase their rates, what are you going to do if you need to edit videos? You're going to have to pay them. If they want to increase their rates again, what are you going to do? You have to pay them. And you think those other 2 or 3 companies that are going to offer cloud computing are going to give you a much more competitive rate? Maybe in the beginning, if I'm wishful thinking, because they may want to lure you in to their services. But no, they're going to be pretty much the same because they know they have you and they know you need the cloud computing horsepower. You know, it's weird. At least at the end of the day, you know, everyone can virtually afford absolutely nothing, but at least you could buy your tech, right? It was like, all right, the one joy that many people, I could buy my phone, I could buy my console, I could buy this. Life may suck and everything else is unaffordable, but the one thing I've scraped together for that I can afford brings me some joy. And I get to keep that. Not anymore. They want to take that away too. They literally want you to own nothing, to be beholden to them for the rest of your life. And they're trying to brute force their way into that business model. And we have to try to fight it. We have to, because this is a dark road and it goes beyond tech. If we own absolutely nothing, we are completely enslaved to these corporations, and it's going to get brutal out there, man. So we have to fight back and we have to call it out, because this is just the beginning. And if we don't do something, it's going to get significantly worse. This is Rich of Review Tech USA signing out. Have a good one.